Fellas, today we're going to be talking about sidearms, or most notably, the rise of sidearms. Guys, I've been saying it all along, but we are slowly but surely inching into a sidearm meta. When you look at all the sandbox changes that have occurred around special weapons, nerfing movement, sliding, airborne effectiveness, there is one weapon type that has continued to thrive more and more with every sandbox change. That is sidearms. Starting with the most recent buff. Bungie essentially increased auto-aim fall-off distance by 30% across the board, stating that previously sidearms were the only primary weapon where auto-aim fell off significantly before damage, and this brings them up to parity with other weapons, meaning that Drang that you have fully specced out with craftable rolls, max range, which can, by the way, reach up past 19 meters. Previously, you would notice a dip in consistency before it actually reached damage fall off. And see, that's the thing with most weapons. Just about every other weapon, you don't actually see a dip there in its auto-aim fall-off distance until the weapon starts to experience damage fall-off, or so it's supposed to be. Needless to say, the change should make all sidearms feel much better. And look no further than the Trials meta. Since this change went live earlier this month, we have consistently seen a migration away from the likes of the old meta, which include things like Jade Rabbits, No Time to Explain. Yes, I know those weapons got dealt with individually, but notice Drang being at the top of the list, including the likes of Forerunner. And yes, Forerunner is a sidearm. Did it directly benefit from this change? No. But did it need a benefit? Absolutely not. Forerunner already is one of the most consistent 3-taps in the game. It consumes special ammo, and with all the special ammo changes that have occurred over the past 6 months, it's no surprise to see Forerunner getting better and better. Hell, fellas, if Forerunner ever gets a buff to its exotic catalyst and that frag grenade, this is going to be the go-to option for everybody. But you know what's so beautiful about Forerunner? You can combine it with the likes of Drang. Forerunner in the kinetic slot, Drang in that energy slot, and Drang is one of the furthest reaching sidearms in the game. Hell, fellas, it can outrange Last Word, and that's a hand cannon. Today, though, guys, I want to go through a list of sidearms that have been performing very well. And I was actually very surprised about this because originally I was expecting certain sidearms to be the meta, and then it turned out not to be so much. First up, let me just briefly go over our exotics. Traveler's Chosen, Devil's Ruin, Trespasser, and Rat King. Now, I know I didn't mention Cryosthesia. Listen, I like Cryosthesia. It's not bad. If you like to depend on stasis loadouts and run around freezing people, by all means, go right ahead. But these other sidearms are definitely the ones that I wanted to test out immediately. We did a Rat King build with Gerfalcon. Disgusting. Devil's Ruin. We also did it with Gerfalcon. Disgusting. Traveler's Chosen. Traveler's Chosen is not even in its final form. This 0.6 second time to kill weapon is only going to get nastier next season when it gets surplus as its exotic catalyst. Trespasser. This was kind of a letdown. I was expecting Trespasser to perform better for me. I like it on controller. I don't like it on mouse and keyboard, but I was expecting it to be more dominant, and it just wasn't as dominant as I was hoping. The sidearms amongst exotics that have stood out outside, of course, Forerunner, which is its own animal, has actually been, of course, Traveler's Chosen and Devil's Ruin. Don't get me wrong, I like Rat King. It does synergize nice with Gerfalcon, but dude, Devil's Ruin, especially when you're actually charging up that fusion, is so disgusting. Traveler's Chosen is so great for our subclass 3.0 abilities. Giving yourself ability regeneration every single time you get a kill in Gathering Light. Chef's kiss, baby. And think about it. Every time you're topping off your abilities, you're contributing to surplus next season on this exotic catalyst. Oh, and by the way, all of these sidearms are only going to get better because full auto will be added to all weapons. Now, moving on to our legendaries. Guys, I spent a lot of time here with a lot of different legendaries, including the Trials sidearm, Forgiveness, the Keening, Drang, Redback. And I know we never even mentioned Redback before. Pretty good. We also messed around with Brigand's Law for a little bit, Peacebond, and even Allied Demand. But I'm really going to jump to the highlights of these legendaries that really stood out. And I actually want to bring up Forgiveness. Guys, if you do not have this aggressive burst sidearm, aka Smugglers 2.0, this is such a good sidearm. It was already really good. Alacrity literally makes these Trials weapons busted in things like Rumble or when you're the last living member of your fire team. But with this change, one of the things that really held back these aggressive 2-round burst sidearms is just overall consistency. There were multiple times I would just be shooting, despite no damage fall off occurring. I could just tell my shots were just not landing. With this change though in this sandbox, Forgiveness had no problem landing shots. It was doing work. This is 100% a sidearm you need to have in your arsenal. Another sidearm we got to mess around with was the Last Dance. And this is an Amalon adaptive frame sidearm, and we actually messed around with 2 adaptive frames, and again, they're 3-round bursts. We mess around with high Albedo or Albedo. I don't know, man. But both of them are 3-round burst weapons. Now, I bring both of them in here. The Last Dance is really good, like most Amalon adaptive frames. However, is it Last Hope good? No. And look, I think this is actually presenting us a future opportunity to get Last Hope returned to us with new random rolls. Have it unsunset with the Amalon origin traits. I'm just saying, guys, it's gonna happen. I think Last Hope is still the superior Amalon sidearm, but don't get me wrong, Last Dance is still performing pretty nicely. High Albedo. I bring up high albedo because this little 3-round burst sidearm, which nobody really cares about, actually has one of the most unique traits on it, and that's Headseeker. Now, no one is jumping up right now saying Headseeker is meta. However, Bungie mentioned in a TWAB a while back that they're actually looking to make Headseeker more interesting. They plan to increase the duration the perk is active, having the perk reset on body shots when it is already active, and have it increase aim assist by a very small amount. And it was stated that in playtests, it is very good. Arguably one of the best neutral perks for pulse rifles. Now, no, they mentioned pulse rifles right here. They're not exactly talking about sidearms, and this is when they were actually going through everything that they're going to be doing in the next sandbox, dealing with things like No Time to Explain, etc., Jade Rabbit. But a lot of people forget Headseeker is even present on this sidearm, which makes us wonder, hello, high albedo, are you about to be nasty? No lie, that would actually be hilarious. Now, the other standout sidearm is, of course, Drang. Guys, Drang is so good. It's so good because you can pair it with Arbalest. Arbalest, by the way, has not received the flinch nerf that sniper rifles have received. You can literally just run around popping headshots, no problem. Drang literally does everything that your Last Word wishes it could do. And don't get me wrong, I like Last Word, but it's been nerfed a number of times. And I've seen this play out before. Way back when, inside of Destiny 1, we had a sidearm meta, and everyone went from using things like a Last Word, or Thorn, or Hawkmoon, to suddenly using sidearms. Wormwood was the go-to choice. Dreg's Promise also became one of the top choices inside of Trials. And that was actually due to the fact that special ammo was nerfed. Now, it was nerfed in a much different way back in Destiny 1 where it was completely removed. Inside of Destiny 2, they just essentially nerfed its drop rate, and of course, some various movement nerfs, in-air accuracy, slide nerfs, etc. The point is, Drang is performing stupid good. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a nerf on the horizon for Drang. With that being said, back to what we were talking about in D1, this is also a perfect opportunity for Bungie to introduce Dreg's Promise. And I know, some of you are like, what the hell is that potato looking gun? Doesn't even look good. I say Dregs use it all the time. They suck with it. You're right. They do. But in the hands of a Guardian, this is one of the most feared weapons in all of Destiny. It tracks, it kills fast, it has perfect in-air accuracy. I'm not going to say it's happening next season or even the season after, but everything that is occurring is setting the stage for the return of Dreg's Promise. With that being said though, Drang performing phenomenally. And I would actually say that Drang and Forgiveness, both of those are neck and neck in this sandbox. And the only reason I would use Forgiveness is if I was like in Rumble and I was wanting to take advantage of Alacrity. And of course, if you have the Adept version, Adept mods. But even then, Drang's ability to reach its stupid ranges and having that 0.6 second time to kill value. This is one nasty sidearm. Outside of that, we also got to play with Allied Demand. Good rolls on this one, guys. Don't overlook it. Similar to like Drang, Allied Demand has the potential to have great reach. We're talking a rangefinder iron reach roll can reach almost up to 19 meters. Now, I know what you're saying. Cross, couldn't Drang just reach that all on its own without the need of iron reach and rangefinder? Yes, and that's why it's so nasty. Hence why I think a nerf is coming. But Allied Demand is another great option. And again, it's rocking that updated Skulking Wolf origin trait, where final blows with this weapon grant enhanced radar and remove you from the opposing radar. So for my Invis hunters, here's another way to be annoying. Now, a sidearm that really surprised me that I have actually only used like a couple times, and I kept one in my vault just in case, was Redback. This is a lightweight frame Vice sidearm. Now, this one surprised me because I just wasn't expecting it to be that good. I've got a decent roll, opening shot, perpetual motion, accurized rounds, extended barrel, ranged masterwork. It's also a Redback weapon, so of course has faster handling, allows you to move faster as well. And with my particular roll, it can reach up to 16 meters and actually a little past that, which is impressive, especially for a lightweight. And the TTK value on this weapon is also not that bad at 0.67 seconds. Guys, I was actually genuinely surprised with how good lightweights felt, or at least Redback felt. And there's other lightweights out there. You've got like the 7th Seraph, the Farewell, which also has some really good rolls, including a rangefinder roll. Redback was just the one that I still had in my vault. And again, super impressed with how it felt. Now, we also mess around with Brigand's Law. This is a rapid fire, and there are other rapid fires in the game, including Punching Out, the Fool's Remedy. Don't get me wrong, I like rapid fires, but there is definitely a consistency drop off at range. So keep that in mind with all of those. I would say the way that these weapons are going to be good, considering they're Suros-based weapons, is if we got like an updated Fool's Remedy, but with like the Suros origin traits, right? Cross, what about Peacebond? Is Peacebond meta? Well, Peacebond is actually thrown in the same category as high albedo. And even though it's not an Amalon burst or an Amalon adaptive burst, it's still an adaptive burst, meaning it's a 3-round burst weapon. Now, the beautiful thing about Peacebond is, of course, it has great ranges, and I mean rivaling that of even Drang. With the right roll, you can reach up to 18.72 meters, and that's like Iron Reach, Rangefinder, Hammerforge with accurized rounds. And if you wanted to fully commit, you can almost get up to 19 meters with full bore. Wouldn't suggest it. Iron Reach is literally killing your stability, but if you can maintain your shots, guys, Peacebond is quite nasty. It has everything you want it to have. Personally, I just suck with it. That's all I'm gonna say, guys. Like, I know people pop off with Peacebond, but for some reason, I just suck with this sidearm. I've got no other explanation for it other than I suck with it. That's it. Now, the only sidearms we actually didn't play with were precisions. I'm ashamed to say it, guys, but I don't even own a single precision sidearm anymore. Not even a Boudica or Boudica, whatever. The new one. So if you have a God Roll Bodhi, please reach out to me. I would love to actually play with one to see if it feels really, really good or not. I know it has some pretty decent rolls and it's a Hake sidearm, so I would love to try it out. But what I will say about the rest of the sidearms I have played with, whether they were aggressive bursts, adaptives, lightweights, our burst sidearms, and especially our exotic sidearms, they are all feeling very, very good. And if you haven't had a chance, and I know there's a ton of people that will not like me for saying this because they don't want a sidearm meta, but we are there. We are neck deep into a sidearm meta, and if Drek's promise ever actually returns to us, it's GG. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.